During Project Condor, Rolls-Royce abated tons of asbestos within our facilities. In fact, asbestos has been completely removed from most of our areas. However, some asbestos still remains. Because there is a possibility of encountering asbestos or presumed asbestos-containing material, workers need information to protect themselves from exposure. I'm Matt Mann, and today we're going to talk asbestos. Asbestos is the name of 6 naturally occurring silicate minerals that are mined and then refined into many products primarily used in the construction industry of past times. Asbestos is generally made up of fiber bundles that can easily separate into singular fibers. These fibers are strong, durable, and resistant to chemicals, heat, and fire. These fibers are long, thin, and flexible, allowing them to be woven into cloth-like materials. For many years, asbestos was considered a miracle mineral due to being fireproof, resistant to acids and corrosion, as well as being a good electrical insulator. Because of these properties, asbestos was commonly used in roofing, flooring, fireproofing, reinforcing cement, pipe insulation, friction products like automotive brakes, electrical insulation, soundproofing, and many other products, even artificial snow decorations and cigarette filters made in the 1950s. Before the 1970s, asbestos was widely used in construction. It could be found in schools, homes, office buildings, and factories. Asbestos was sprayed onto ceilings, often referred to as popcorn ceilings. It was applied to wall coverings to deaden sound, and most commonly used as wrapping on steam and water pipes, duct systems, and boilers as insulation. It was even used on metal I-beams as fire protection. While asbestos was used in almost all construction materials at one time, not all materials contain asbestos. Suspected materials must be presumed as asbestos-containing materials, or PACM, unless proven otherwise. Asbestos is dangerous to handle and must be removed only by a licensed asbestos abatement worker. Do not attempt to remove asbestos yourself. If you encounter asbestos or a PACM, you should immediately leave the area and contact your supervisor or health and safety representative. You should also warn other co-workers nearby about the potential hazard. Although asbestos usage in new products within the U.S. largely ended in the 1980s, it can still be found in older structures. The lives of many workers have been negatively impacted by previous exposure to asbestos. Asbestos experts commonly agree that unless asbestos becomes friable, then it is safest when it is left undisturbed. Friable means that a material crumbles easily only using hand pressure. The easier it crumbles into dust, the more friable it is. Cutting, sanding, scraping, grinding, and drilling are operations that will make asbestos friable, so you should always avoid any of these actions to prevent exposure to harmful asbestos fibers. Asbestos is a known carcinogen, so your respiratory system is the primary route of exposure. These fibers are extremely tiny. In fact, they can only be identified under a high-powered microscope, so they are easily inhaled as a result and can cause serious and deadly diseases. These include asbestosis, lung cancer, and mesothelioma. These diseases can take 15 to 35 years to show symptoms, so many workers do not realize they are being affected by the exposure and often do not take steps to protect themselves. People who smoke are 90 times more likely to contract an asbestos-related disease than non-smokers. Asbestos use was prevalent in the naval shipyards, so the answer to question number 2 on your quiz is Navy. Only specially trained and licensed personnel are permitted to work with asbestos materials. If you are not one of those trained and licensed workers, you should never disturb, sand, scrape, cut, grind drill, remove any asbestos material, nor should you clean up any asbestos materials that have been demolished or removed. Licensed asbestos abatement workers are the only persons allowed to do asbestos abatement, and they must always wear the proper PPE, including a HEPA filter respirator. Additionally, they must use sealed enclosures, glove bags, and utilize wet methods. The best ways for you to protect yourself and your co-workers from asbestos exposure is to recognize when a product may be a presumed asbestos-containing material or a PACM. You should understand the health hazards asbestos presents, and you should never disturb asbestos materials. If you encounter asbestos-containing materials or presumed asbestos-containing materials, leave it alone, leave the area, warn workers of the hazards, and immediately report it to your supervisor or health and safety team. Follow these rules and you can breathe easy.